Hello Internet, and welcome to Scott's Amateur Woodshop. Why do I have this awkwardly large piece of plywood blocking all of my walking space right now? Well, if you're wondering that, here's the answer. I love French cleats, that's why. I'm building just a small panel of French cleats to give me some more room to store things. So let me just quickly show you what I'm doing. So, first thing you gotta know is what these strips of cleats look like. I'm gonna bring them closer to the camera. Now, I've done this before on my blog, so you can look back at Scott's Amateur Woodshop and see that. But here's what they look like in cross section. There's that slant on the top there. And that's essentially a long hook. It hooks upward once it's screwed to a wall. It looks even more like a hook. So I'm screwing to this panel, and then I'll screw the panel to the wall. But I'll be able to take the panel with me when I move out of this apartment. And yeah, I'm going on the diagonal. Why? Because I feel like it. That's really just the simple answer. So I've screwed some on. I'll show you how I lay them out in a moment. Oops. But for now, I'm going to cut off the excess using this Ryoba. And by the way, this Ryoba is made by Vaughan. It's marketed as Vaughan Bear Saw. They have impulse hardened teeth, so they can't easily be resharpened, but the blades are replaceable. And they make a few different ones. The Ryoba comes with a straight handle, and that's the handle I like best. I would recommend, buying one of these if it's something that you might want. And I wouldn't buy more than one of the other saws, because the other saws all come with the same handle, and it's more of a it's not a pistol grip, but it's kind of like an old-fashioned. Yeah, it's a little bit of an angle. It's like that kind of an angle, except it's up here, so it's short. So you'd be holding it more like this. After that, you can just buy the replacement blades, which I think are about 10 or 12 bucks. Alright, so I'm doing sort of a flush cut for this. This isn't a perfect flush cut saw. The teeth do have some set, but for a lot of things it's just fine. Because the teeth, it's not like they have a ton of set, and this, isn't a show surface, so a few teeth scratches on it are fine, and I can plane them off anyway if I need to. It's just not fussy enough that it requires a real flush cut saw. So this is how I'm going about this. Have a nice, neat result. Unfortunately, I think this saw is a little dull, so I may grab another one that I have that has a newer blade on it, because I would hate to recommend that with such a weak demonstration. Yeah. This one really needs to have this blade go bye-bye. Maybe the rip side feels pretty good. Perhaps that's why I left it on there, I don't know. Yeah, these Ryobas, they do have a rip and a crosscut side. And they're awful handy in an awful lot of situations. And not having a workbench here, I'd rather have one of these than a Western saw. When I have a traditional Western workbench, I like to have Western saws. And one of these at the ready just in case of an odd situation. Alright, so what do we got so far? What we got so far is a panel to hang at an angle with 2 French cleats on it, and I'm going to add a third. I'll just show you an example. Oh, excuse me. Yes, I am awake. So I'll just show you an example of hanging something on it. Here's a box that I have. It's from IKEA. I mounted some hinges and a clasp on it, not totally original. And it has a French cleat on it, on the back. So that interlocks with one of these hooks. And then you have the box hanging on the wall. Don't like it on the wall? Take it down. Want it in a different place? Hang it in a different place. So that's how that works. That's the appeal of French cleats. Okay, so now let me show you how I position and mount another French cleat on my wall. Actually, maybe I can do part of it up in the air. So the long and short of it is that I have a tool. And I use this tool rather than measuring each one because I really want to get it consistent. This has 2 French cleats on it, spaced apart, much like you might on the back of a bigger box or something that's hanging on the wall. In fact, essentially all this is a stick that hangs on the wall, if you want to look at it that way. But this is also my spacer. So this determines where the next one goes. That's good because you're measuring from the top of the cleat, the part that does the cleating, not the bottom. In case any of these cleats were inconsistent widths or anything, it wouldn't matter if you use a spacer tool like this. And also if you plane a little bit of the tip off, it's fine because you're not measuring from that actual tip, you're measuring from the angled surface, which it's just tricky to do without a jig. So let's see. Well, I've got a perfect scrap here already cut to the right angle. So I think I will use that. Okay, so check my spacer in a couple of different spots. I'm going to go back and forth and hold it down where I was last touching it so it pivots. Check it over. Forth. Okay, that seems perfect. Okay, now it's just a matter of putting some screws in. Start with a pilot hole. I like to just stagger these mounting points along the length of it. And of course I'm not going to put a hole right near the top. This is 3/4 inch with a 40-degree angle, which means there's about 3/4 inches of the top, which I just have to pretend like it's not there. Essentially, I don't want to put a screw where it'll interfere with the cleat itself. Okay, so that's it. I'm not going to use my impact driver in this video because it's loud. So, I got these screws. These are 1 1/4, which takes me through the 3/4 cleat and through a 1/2 inch of the 3/4 plywood. And if I go a little bit deeper, I've got that 1/4 inch to spare. Now, I'm going to be very careful not to move this while I put in at least the first 2 screws. Now, I was not paying attention, so I did something a little bit silly, and I'm not going to go back now. This is lame the video, right? But now I make mistakes like this anyway, and you just saw it live. I left it sticking out. Why did I do that? I was so focused on positioning it the right place vertically and getting the angle right that I forgot about the length. Oh well. I'll cut it off again. You can see that I've got more things to cut off. But once I've got this panel, and yeah, it's got a few places left to trim, I can hang it on the wall. You could just butt a level up under here or set it on here, and then put it in the studs of the wall. There's plenty of space, and you just want to keep the screws flush. You don't want them sticking out, so that you can mount all sorts of things on here. Now, what can you mount on here? I would look back at my blog, Scott's Amateur Woodshop, and search for French cleats on there. You'll see a ton of examples. If you build something, it's as simple as putting one of these cleat strips on the back of it, or even a couple of little cleat blocks. You don't need to use up a whole strip of it. If you want to purchase something, you could take a milk crate, you could take a cabinet, you could take anything that you can buy. You could even take something round like a bucket and put a block on the side of it. So there's lots of things you can put on French cleats. It's really anything, and the advantage is it lets you rearrange easily, and it lets you take things on and off easily. So you may not need that for everything, but for some things you do. And would I want to go nuts with this French cleat system in my apartment? Probably not, because it's primarily an apartment, not a wood shop. I'm doing wood shop things here because it's my hobby and make a little bit of space for that. But mainly I'm doing it because I already have a whole bunch of stuff that goes on French cleats because of my old wood shop, and if I want to bring any of it here, it's convenient to have a place to put it. So I'll be mounting this on the wall. It'll look sort of like this. And I did the angle thing, for fun mainly. I'm going to see how it goes. It's kind of an experiment. So that's really all I have for you today. Thanks for visiting Scott's Amateur Woodshop, Scott's Apartment Woodshop now. And there's buttons down below. Use them if you wish. And hope you have a wonderful day.